what Andrew Maguire had to say about the emails at J.P. Morgan, how they're manipulating the market, and I had the emails to pass out to the press. Of course, they wouldn't even mention it. We had this big bombshell, and that did go on the Internet because they weren't ready for it. They knew about my testimony, but they did not know about this. And, of course, that's what went viral around the Internet. And, we thought the press would sensationalize. Of course, they never do with us. It's always not allowed to talk about it. So the next day, Andrew and his fiancée at the time were hit by a car. The guy hit 2 cars trying to get away. There was a helicopter chase. They finally got the guy. I don't know what's happened or since. I haven't heard a thing. Andrew had been talking with, I can't get into it, with other people since then. I'm hoping to learn more at the conference, honestly, but there's been other stuff done since then. He was hoping something big would come out by the conference. I don't know. But this will be his first appearance publicly, and I'm sure he's going to get into it, and he is for real, and it's very exciting, actually, but it's typical how the mainstream press just won't touch it. Pathetic.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Well, thank you for that elucidation.
We are speaking with Bill Murphy, chairman of GATA. Please visit the GATA website at www.gata.org, as well as Bill's personal website, La Metropole Cafe, at www.lametropolecafe.com. Our next subject matter will concern precious metals and manipulation. Brad has the next question. Go ahead, Brad.
Hi, Bill. Do you ever see this manipulation ending, or will they just be able to write overwhelming numbers of transient shorts all day, every day?
Well, people keep saying, some of the know-nothings say, well, geez, some manipulated market is going up 11 years in a row. But that's not the point. Just on this the other day, somebody, I forget, was saying, writer for the Financial Times, if gold get kept up with inflation, it would be $2,400 an ounce. Look how lousy it's done over the years. Well, hello. That's what the suppression scheme's been all about. Thank you. Why don't you come to our conference, I think his name is Jack Farkey or something like that, and understand what this game's all about. And we have said all along, we call it a managed retreat. People say that the central banks have 28 to 30,000 tons in their vaults left. We believe they only have 10 to 15,000 tons, that the rest of that gold is gone via loan operations and so on and sold secretly. It's not there anymore. And basically what it means is they're running out of ammunition to do the dirty, to meet a huge supply-demand deficit. How gold was kept down below 300 for those years was because they were just dumping all this gold into the marketplace. But we knew that they were dumping too much too cheaply, and that this would be unsustainable, that demand for physical gold was much greater than the establishment was telling people. Of course, they couldn't get into that because then they would have to say, where's the supply coming from? So they just, they've all been working with the wrong numbers. Part of my presentation. I mean, it's all false, and that's the reason these mainstream gold world people have basically missed this move and don't are either disingenuous about it or don't get it. They're just stupid. So to answer your question, first of all, we think they've basically hit the wall in silver. That's why silver went to 50. So they can always get a little more gold here and there from something, beg, borrow, and steal. But they don't. The silver's not there. All they have is their paper shorts. So, and it started to get away from them when they raised the margins and they had the attack from silver and got it from 50 down to 32. But now it's composed itself, and it's starting to make a move again, and they got a lot of specs out of the market, and they don't have the tools to stop it next time. So my guess is, one, it's going to end because silver is going to blow up, and two, the demand for gold is increasing from big players all over the world, the Indians, the Chinese, the Russians, the big money people that know that the euro and European system is going in the tank. And, of course, the biggest joke here is the United States, with some of our states broke, and the fiscal situation here is beyond comprehension how bad it is, and no matter what they talk about, nothing's ever done. So the financial system in Europe and the United States is just horrific. And so the worse it gets, more and more people want gold and silver. The more they buy, the more difficult it is for the gold cartel to come up with supply to keep the price down. So that's why we've been so confident all these years of what's coming and why. And they're just going to blow up, I guess, is the way of ending this. It's going to end at some point when they just either gold could be revalued at a much higher price, or they're just going to. They can't stop it. All they do is control it. We have certain James McShirley, one of our speakers, and he's going to talk about the mechanics and what happens in a sense of, it used to be a 2% rule. Now it's mostly 1%. Never goes up more than 2%. Certain breakouts are also, they just do certain things. They attack at certain times of the day, play with their plan A, plan B, plan C stuff. We just talk about the same thing over and over again. So the answer to the question at the end is they're going to blow up.
That's great. Thanks a lot, Bill. Cheers.
Cheers.
Hi, Bill. This is Giuseppe.
Sir.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Bill, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. Can you describe to us how frustrating it is fighting the system when you know for certain you are correct, but the system is designed to continue corruption for the status quo?
Yeah, it gets very frustrating. Like I said, when we went to Europe and met all these big writers, don't even. What we resented this. It's not even he said, she said. Well, here's what these people have to say, and here's why. No, it's just it's like we're not allowed to be heard. It's extremely frustrating when you do all these things and go to Congress and as we could get into stuff there and just and you know what's going to happen, and we know it. We put a $246,000 full-page color ad in the Wall Street Journal, January 31st, 2008, ahead of the financial crisis. $250,000. In it, we talked about, because of the manipulation of the gold market coming, catastrophe and disaster is coming. And guess what? The whole financial system in the fell apart. We were right. We didn't get one query about why we would do something like that. Nothing. It wasn't even written. And that gets back to my gripe against the press. And of course, the mainstream gold world is pathetic. The World Gold Council, Gold Fields Mineral Services, they're all in lines and get paid for by these bullion banks and the whole thing. And the leading funder for World Gold Council a while back was Barrick Gold, and it's just awful. And then you bring up these things, and so many people in the mainstream gold world, silver world, won't do anything about it, won't even talk to you, run away from you. We're trying to help them. Oh, they make me sick to my stomach. I mean, it's a great deal of frustration. It's just a total disdain for these people as humans. And the people that don't know about it, don't have time to listen to it, got other things to do in their life. Well, that's totally more than understandable. But these bums, I have just no use for them whatsoever. Total contempt. I hope that comes through.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Bill, are you familiar with the WebBots?
Yes.
Okay, so in the latest WebBot report, there's a paragraph headline, Patriot Act, which says officialdom or politicians will begin a campaign against people who own gold and silver. They will spew slurs and lies, and this will preface to criminalization the possession of precious metals. The same was said in previous reports or alluded to it, somewhat of a confiscation of precious metals. This past week, Bernanke said that gold is not money. How can the government legally confiscate your personal collection?
Well, this is just my personal opinion now. I cannot imagine that in 1,000 years, anything close to what we just talked about, because the rest of the world would laugh at the United States. Laugh. With the Indians, Russians, Chinese, other major countries, big banks, pension funds in the United States buying gold, they would just laugh at us. I mean, it would expose our entire system, because the first thing is people say, why are they doing that? That's ridiculous. First of all, hardly anybody in the United States owns gold. Back in the 30s when they confiscated, it was tied to the dollar, and there was a lot of gold ownership, and it was a whole different setup now. Right now, there's almost no interest in gold. Even after 11 years in the recent run, my website's blah. I've never seen anything like it. So getting back to the question, there hasn't been much interest even in the shares. A lot of them haven't done anything in years, despite what gold and silver have done.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see how I mean, it was, as I said, it's beyond my comprehension. I mean, I said the only possible way is if we go to a total fascist state or totalitarian state, in which the whole system changes. I mean, I just can't imagine why. Who cares about gold and silver? What are they going to do with the silver too? Say no, you can't own silver. What? You can't put silver in your. You can't use it for your business.
Bill, so in your view, you don't see this prediction as ever coming true, or maybe if it does, it'll be muted or very small?
I can't imagine anything like that for the main reason that the rest of the world would just start laughing at the United States. No. And I think the dollar would just completely collapse. I mean, it would expose, especially thou dost protestest too much. I mean, to even, they don't even want to talk about gold. I mean, like some of these questions, you never, and so that's why Bernanke was stunned the other day when Ron Paul, for the first time we can ever remember, at least in all the years we've been doing it, somebody asked somebody a serious question on a spot like that about gold. And he didn't know what to do because nobody ever asked it. So I just couldn't imagine it. I don't think I'm going to be right here. I just can't imagine. They just don't want to talk about it. And you want to get the subject talked about, that'll do it.
Well, thank you on that. On GATA, you uncovered the tungsten-filled gold bar stories. Though your research have found that the Chinese or the Indians or anyone else really got conned into buying these fakes, to me, it's a bit perplexing since no one has retaliated to this con. Or if retaliation is ongoing, can you shed some light on it? I just don't understand how these...
Honestly, I don't either. I've never got into it too much. We've had some of our people report on it. I've heard a lot about it. God has never got into it too much. We really stick to stuff that we know that's fact or strongly supported by what we've learned. If it's not fact. And a lot of our stuff's public information or stuff we've been told.